Miniature Landscape Hobbies is proudly supported by these sponsors.
Let me guess what the biggest problem is that you have as a miniature wargamer. I bet it's time, right? Of course it is. It's the same way for all of us. Between building models, painting them, and playing actual games, there's really not a lot of hobby time left. And so the first thing that gets sacrificed is usually our terrain. We all know that great terrain makes a game immersive, and it looks incredible. But somehow that terrain just never gets done. In fact, I bet you right now, if I went to look at your wargaming table, it would be something like mine. A field of gray plastic dreams. But what if there was a shortcut? A way to get gorgeous terrain on your table right away. No painting required. Well, there is a shortcut. It's called Battlefield in a Box by Gale Force Nine.
Recently, our friends at Gale Force 9 sent over a massive shipment of the new Mundus Imperialis terrain, part of the Gothic sector range for Battlefront in a Box. This line is designed for small-scale sci-fi games in the 6mm to 10mm range, or about 1/160th scale. This makes it perfect for Legions Imperialis, BattleTech, Adeptus Titanicus, and my favorite, Armoured Clash. You may also know this size of miniature by its other term, Epci Scale, which seems to have caught on recently and generally refers to scales smaller than Flames of War's 15mm, which is about 1/100. In total, from what they sent over, we're looking at 8 different box sets. The Librarium and Sensorum, 2 sets of roads, the Scholam and Generatorium, the Civil Defense Bastion, damaged roads, highways, and craters, the Administratum, and the damaged variant of the Manufactorum depot. That's a lot of Gothic concrete and twisted metal to deal with, enough to fill an entire 6x4 board in one go. Each kit comes pre-painted and packaged extremely well. There's nothing rattling around in the box, no chip paint, no bent corners. Out of the packaging, you can tell Gale Force 9 took care to make these look consistent and durable. The color palette is a neutral gothic gray with subtle red accents. A good flexible scheme that fits pretty much any faction. You could easily drop these buildings onto a chaos-ravaged world, an imperial city, or even a BattleTech industrial zone without them feeling out of place. And that's one of the strongest points here, universality. These pieces don't lock you into one setting or aesthetic. Whether you're fielding titans, mechs, or like me, using steampunk walkers, they look right at home. Let's look at the individual sets, starting with the Scholam and Generatorium. Here we'll start small with the Scholam. This is a compact line of sight blocker, great for breaking up open areas or giving infantry somewhere to hunker down. The Generatorium, which comes in the same box, has a more complex multi-level structure with spots to perch models or create vertical gameplay moments. Both share consistent paint quality and texture, dry brushed edges, and nice panel contrast. Next up is the Civil Defense Bastion. This one's a real standout for me. It's tall, angular, and looks like something straight out of an Imperial Fortress world. The detailing on the windows and parapets really pops under good lighting, and the added height makes it perfect for hiding titans, large artillery units, or armored clash behemoths behind. This piece does what terrain should do. It changes the shape of the game. It introduces elevation, cover, and is visually imposing. This model stands out in its Gothic grandeur, reinforcing a sense that Big Brother, the Emperor, or any other harsh overlord of your choice is watching. Here we'll group the Librarium, Sensorum, and Administratum buildings together because they're quite similar. These are mid-sized buildings, and they add much-needed variety to the set. The Librarium looks like a command center or archive building, with classic Gothic touches. The Sensorum has a large domed roof that adds more accent color, and it has a very useful L shape. The Administratum is a piece on the larger side, a perfect centerpiece for the table or thematic HQ for your army, complete with twin towers to perch guards on. One interesting feature common to all these medium-sized buildings is that they all have varying levels to them. This means that while particularly large models can hide behind parts of them, they can also use their shapes to work as cover to look over. I think this is a really thoughtful element. Next up is my favorite, the Manufactorum depot. It's large, detailed, and looks fantastic on both its pristine and damaged sides. This is literally because one side is intact and the other's bombed out, making for unique options for model placement. This is also the only building I received that needed to be put together, with the buttresses and roof being removable. But no glue is needed to assemble this, and it only took seconds to put together. On the table, the Manufactorum depot is exactly what you want. It's a good focal point, big enough to anchor your layout, but not so massive that it dominates every shot. The two road sets that were sent to me are next. They're made from flexible rubber, and they include straight sections, curves, and intersections. Each set even includes tunnel entrances as natural endpoints, which helps make your city layout feel cohesive. There is a bit of a downside here. The interlocking system doesn't hold perfectly during play. They tend to drift apart a little when models move across them. So if you're a stickler for precision, you might want to tape your roads from the underside or use a bit of blue tack or something similar. The damaged roads and crater set adds a ton of character. They're not just functional, but they also tell a story. You've got broken asphalt, dragon's teeth, defensive emplacements, and craters large enough for titans to stride over. These pieces break up the symmetry of your board and make it feel like a lived-in war zone, not just another model display. When I set everything up, I was generally surprised by how much ground these 8 boxes covered. On a standard 6x4 armored clash board, it filled nearly the entire play area without feeling crowded. The different building heights and shapes created dynamic lines of sight. Behemoths could fire across streets, infantry could maneuver between buildings, and vehicles had natural choke points to contest. The paint finish on these models is consistent. No weird color mismatches or sloppy dry brushing. The occasional metallic surface can look a little too bright, so if you want to personalize things, a quick black wash or oil pin wash goes a long way to deepen the shadows. Durability-wise, these are solid resin pieces. They've got weight without being fragile. Also, after a few games in my basement, including collisions with dice, they're still pristine. That being said, nothing's perfect. I want to go over some of the pros and cons here. The pros are that these models are fully painted and ready to use. You literally have zero preparation to use these. They're a great scale for multiple game systems. They have excellent packaging and a very consistent finish. They also have a very strong visual impact. Your board instantly looks extremely cinematic with these. But there are some cons too. The road connectors could use improvement. They just don't fasten the sections together. The road sets could also benefit from some more straight sections, as there's just not enough of them to cover a whole lot of space. This means that you'll need to buy multiple road sets in order to set up anything that's reasonable for your table. The paint is good, but there's not really any weathering on the models, which would help with realism. And of course, lastly, these aren't really a budget option, though considering the paintwork and durability, they're really quite an excellent value. At the end of the day, Battlefield in a Box Mundus Imperialis is exactly what it promises to be, a shortcut to a great-looking tabletop. If you're like most hobbyists, you probably have more miniatures than you'll ever finish painting. Terrain doesn't have to be another half-dozen project. This range gives you something beautiful, practical, and ready to go. It turns a gray table problem into an immersive battlefield in minutes. and that's time you can spend actually playing instead of painting fiddly things like bricks and parapets. So, if you play Legions Imperialis, BattleTech, Adeptus Titanicus, or Armored Clash, or if you just want your small scale games to look amazing without the work, I can honestly recommend the Mundus Imperialis line. It's durable, detailed, and game ready straight out of the box. Thanks again to Gale Force 9 for sending these over, and if you want to see them in action, stick around, as they're sure to show up in my other videos. And if you haven't already done so, make sure you hit subscribe, give this video a like, and let me know in the comments which Battlefield in a Box set you think looks best. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and consider joining my Patreon for awesome deals and perks, and support my channel while doing it. See you next time for more miniature gaming, painting, and diorama videos. But most importantly, until then, remember to keep building life in miniature.